Hi, I'm Quinn Peterson with RH Borden in the San Francisco Bay Area, where wet weather flows are often 10x or more dry weather flows. It's an exciting place to work in the I&I space. I'm here to provide you with a brief introduction to the BasinIQ process, which is covered in detail in an 8-page white paper that you'll get when you use the form below to schedule an in-depth conversation about BasinIQ. The paper will help you prepare to ask the questions that will allow you to help your clients deal with their I&I problems. So, BasinIQ, what is it? Well, it's a process that can take a system of any size and within a few relatively quick iterations, locate significant sources of I&I. When it comes to reducing I&I fast, the hard part is locating the significant sources. We know how to fix pipes and manholes, but it's the finding that's tough. When we know where the water is coming from and how it's entering the system, that's when we can start to shave thousands or tens or even hundreds of thousands of gallons per minute off of our peak flows. What makes BasinIQ a paradigm shifting approach is the use of dense sensor networks and the use of advanced manhole modeling. Let's dig into this and see how it works. BasinIQ starts with taking our map of our system and dividing it into drainage basins. These are basins of 10 to 15 linear miles of pipe with a common outfall. The common outfall is important because that's where we're going to put our sensors. Each one of these yellow locations is a sensor that is measuring the outfall of a specific and discrete basin. We can then take these synchronized sensors, overlay weather, and as the rain comes down, understand which of our major basins is contributing the most I&I in a system. This is called a major basin study. There are a number of ways to do this, and as engineers, you have probably done this with some of your systems already. Where the BasinIQ changes the game is the next step, what we call the target basin study. So once we've identified which basin is the leakiest, then we can go in and deploy the sensors in a very granular way, 7 sensors per mile, to identify where within a basin the I&I is coming from. This has never been done before because the sensors that we use for this high density network have never been available before. With this granularity, we can identify to within about 800 feet where a significant source of I&I is coming from. So let's take a look at what a target basin sensor placement looks like. Again, this has never been done before because the sensors and the technology to manage them hasn't been available before. Here you can see we've got a basin that's been identified as being very leaky. We're going to deploy 60 sensors, that's 7 per mile, across this basin, and we'll identify which specific houses may be responsible for instance, sources of inflow. The other thing that makes BasinIQ a paradigm-shifting technology is the addition of manhole modeling. And what this means is we will go into every manhole in which we have placed one of these sensors, and we will create a high-fidelity, millimeter-accurate, laser-scanned image of the manhole. This allows us to calculate slope, to get the geometry of the channel through which the water is going, and to identify what the material is that the channel is made out of. This data allows us to take the level that we're getting from the level monitor and calculate flow, which allows us to compare apples to apples across the system. Finally, what BasinIQ does is it overlays a dense weather sensor network on the I&I to let us know what is happening in this particular part of the system while the wet weather is happening. All this comes together in a series of signatures that indicate the presence of inflow, the presence of infiltration, the presence of blockages in the system, and the presence of no I&I at all. We're able then to compare this across the system and draw rapid conclusions about where I&I is happening. We are then able to compare apples to apples across the system and identify where in the system we need to focus and where we don't to locate and mitigate our I&I problems. Now, in the Bay Area where I am, many operators have given up on getting their I&I out of the system. With BasinIQ, we finally have an approach that can end the massive spills that plague our industry. Now, you're engineers, and this is an engineering solution. I encourage you to fill out the form below and let us show you how to be heroes to your clients by ending their I&I problems.